purposes of time and complexity, we've left out, or we've just simply, to cover as much as we've covered in 1 week is really quite a lot. So we're doing well to cover just the information we've covered. I can come down, turn around, and go from down to up. I can also choose to sit. For me, I don't get quite as much purchase when I do it this way as I do when I'm kneeling on the blanket. And often, to give myself some extra purchase, I'll hook this foot behind my leg like this, and that gives me a little bit more leverage. You see, then I can use my body as a fulcrum again. Like that. And then you hook that front like that. And then you lean forward and back. And when you lean back, you see you've got some purchase on your own body through that position. Then we're imagining that we've got a client under our hands who says, please, could you work a little bit more deeply? And I can use my forearms in between the shoulder blades. Now, I'll show you the mistake that most of you are making with this move, is that as opposed to getting your forearms like this, you're holding them like this, right? Now, you can still do some nice work like this, but the only problem is you've eliminated this whole area from being touched. So if you get your forearms together, you see you can get the muscles very close to the spine, and as you move out by turning your palms down like this, then you move over those, and those muscles are really where the action is in between the spine and the shoulder blade, right? And that is basically what we learned on the backside of the upper part of the backside of the body. Okay? So then, as I go to the lower body on the backside, I will uncover one leg at a time, and of course, I don't have any oil down here. So I'm going to come out the bottom of the leg with a nice, very gentle, long stroke so I don't create too much friction. I'm going to get my oil. It's always an interesting game. Where did I put my oil? Okay. Play that a lot, sometimes in very awkward situations where I'll have the body sort of half in a spinal twist, and I'm like, oh, it's over there. So I'm distributing the oil, and this hand-over-hand method works really well because often you will have way too much oil where you start and you just guide it down. Whereas if you keep adding oil and keep adding oil, very soon you're going to have way too much oil on the person's body, and that changes the nature and the quality of your touch, as well as it doesn't feel good on the skin of the person you're working on.
If this happens anyway, one can say, I just...
take a towel and just wipe it down. Yeah. Wipe your hands off and wipe your person's body down.
Because this happened to me, and it came to say, okay, there is too much here. I started to spread around the person.
Right. But the problem with just spreading it around is if you stay focused on the area that you're working, so I stay focused on the leg rather than doing that, because this usually feels like I'm wiping oil all over you, right? And that usually doesn't feel very good to people. That's making you laugh, huh? So laughter going on here. Esalen massage is quite a fun experience. All right. So as I work on the leg, I can also test her ability, or better to say, just sort of feel her ability to surrender her limbs, surrender her body to my touch. Come down and out, the individual toes. Sometimes I'll place my forearms on the table like this, just out the individual toes. It's a really nice way to do that. And now that I have the whole side oiled, I can do these really wonderful, full body, long strokes. So choose, I can focus on the forearms again. And I can come back and repeat these moves or these moves. What's the benefit of repetition? Does anybody remember?
You can flow into it and you let go.
You flow into it and you let go, and every time I touch an area, what happens?
Release.
Yes, it absorbs the energy of the work, and it shifts and changes. Right? And now I'm doing a nice long stroke down this whole side of the body. Now let's imagine something else that you guys will encounter with people. Let's imagine that your client's getting cold, right? And I've got 3/4 of the body uncovered, and maybe even to me the room is really warm, but she's getting cold. So what I'm going to do as I do this next leg is I'm going to cover everything up and just work on this leg. Now, because she said, I'm cold, I'm cold, I'm cold, I'm cold, I'm not going to flow out of the back and uncover it, because what she would be experiencing is more how cold she is rather than the quality of my touch. So I'm going to start from the foot, like we do on the front of the leg. I can do the very same thing on the back of the leg if I'm in a situation like this and I want to keep my client warm. Does that make sense to everyone? Okay. So I'm just guiding the oil up and coming down. And I'm kind of doing everything in reverse, you know. I've got to hold now the lower leg first and foot first rather than last. It's basically the same thing. I'm just varying things that you've learned and applying them to the situation that kind of arises in the massage. Okay? It's really to your advantage to look at this method this way, that you can, you know, within the context of giving a flowingly still, long stroke based massage, there's a tremendous amount of freedom how you can put it together. Okay?
It's also quite interesting, I suppose, for the person who's receiving in a way, isn't it? Because there's like no control. Oh, we just did my left leg, now I'm going to do my right in the same way.
Right.
You just do something.
Yeah.
And that kind of...
And as long as the quality of touch is there,
Yes.
as long as the flow is there, right? If there's something that you're going to do is like start pinching your client or something, that's not going to be so relaxing, right?
Yeah.
So we're basically doing the same thing, we're just kind of putting it together differently, right? So let's imagine she's still saying, I'm cold, I'm cold, I'm cold, but I want to kind of connect as best I can what I just did there with her upper body. So I just expose the part of the body that I want to work on, and it does interfere somewhat with my capacity to flow and do these really nice full body long strokes. But I had a really interesting experience with a colleague who came to me about a year ago and wanted some work, and you know, I was doing this massage that I thought was fantastic, and the massage itself was, but we couldn't get the room warm enough, and I didn't pay enough attention because you know, we also didn't have the towels and blankets we would have needed. And she just couldn't relax through the whole massage. She said, "Man, it's just, you know, the room is just too cold for me." You know, and I noticed myself. She said, how important that is. You know? I remember that.
Something I found that helps with that, if someone's really cold, is to put, if you do have towels on like the back of their head, across the above their neck, which isn't somewhere where you're going to be working on right now.
That's a nice thing to do. I've seen a lot of tricks. Something that I've also seen is people will have a type of a heater that doesn't set stuff on fire when you put, you know, like a towel on top of it. These oil-based heaters that look like radiators, actually. And they'll place a towel on the radiator about 10 minutes before they start a massage, and they'll actually have like 2 towels. And they'll lay the warm towel on the back, and it will release its heat through the sheet into your client, and you're warming up another towel as you go. And you just kind of keep alternating, and it works very nicely.
Yes, usually the reaction of people is just, that's the best part of the massage.
Somebody where I went to receive massage had one of these blankets with electrical heating on the bed. That also was nice when I arrived from my scooter driving.
Yeah,
Like
that can work very well. That can interfere sometimes, however, if you're going to work underneath the body, because those blanket there, your hands will get stuck on them. And the other thing is, you know, I have heard from some homeopaths and holistic health practitioners that and acupuncturists that those types of blankets will alter the chi flow in your body.
Was not connected with the electricity. She warmed it up before.
And then she takes it up.
she-
Yeah, that's a good idea.
she
Yeah, that's a good
switched
idea.
off, of course.
That would be the way to deal with that.
Yeah.
And this is basically what we learned on the back body. Okay? Everybody remember that? Look familiar? All right.
You also did that push, put the
Yeah,
leg
we did.
thing right
Oh, yes.
down.
Oh,
I found it really fun, 'cause you had to
The
get
bend
to
in the
the
sacrum.
Oh, that. Thank you for reminding me. We learned that too, so I will do that. Thank you for that correction. So as we were here, we also learned to, and sometimes what I'll do is I'll actually move the arm out of the way like this so that I can really land here like this.